saying it, even though the Mueller investigation concluded that it was all a lie. With Joe Biden, on the other hand, there is a much more worrying relationship with a foreign power, one that represents a vastly bigger threat to America than Russia does: China. In December 2013, then Vice President Biden rode Air Force Two on an official trip to Asia. Tensions were high over disputed territories in the East China Sea. Biden was joined by his son, Hunter, who was building a private equity firm along with his business partner and friend, Chris Heinz, heir of the Heinz ketchup family fortune and son-in-law of then Secretary of State John Kerry. Vice President Biden and Hunter Biden were ushered into Beijing on a red carpet with a delegation of Chinese officials. From there, Joe went straight into meetings with the Vice President of China and President Xi Jinping. The next morning, the Bidens had a meeting with the U.S.-China Business Council. From there, it was off to Villa number 5 of the Diaoqiu State Guest House, where Madame Mao lived during the Cultural Revolution. Joe Biden struck a soft, friendly tone with the Chinese leadership, disappointing allies in the area like Japan, who were alarmed by China's increasing aggression. But perhaps Joe had other issues beside the global balance of power on his mind, issues like his son's business deals. Hunter's presence on the trip was far from coincidence. Just 10 days later, his company, Rosemont Seneca, signed an exclusive $1 billion deal with the state-owned Bank of China, creating an investment fund called Bohai Harvest, with money backed by the Chinese government. In the words of Peter Schweizer, who first unveiled these conflicts of interest in his book Secret Empires, the Chinese government was literally funding a business that it co-owned along with the sons of two of America's most powerful decision-makers. This is what it looks like to be compromised by a foreign power. And that deal was far from a one-off. In 2011, less than a year after opening his company, Hunter Biden was in China working with a company called Thornton Group to explore business opportunities with Chinese state-owned enterprises. Thornton Group touted the meetings on their Chinese language website, saying Chinese executives, quote, extended their warm welcome to the Thornton Group with its U.S. partner Rosemont Seneca chairman Hunter Biden, brackets, second son of the now Vice President Joe Biden. Here's a screen grab of that web post, captured by the Government Accountability Institute. It features a number of photos of Hunter Biden posing with powerful Chinese officials. Thornton Group was marketing their access to the son of the vice president to attract business with China. But guess what? The write-up and pictures of those meetings on Thornton Group's Chinese language website did not appear on their English language website. Oh, and here's another curious fact. These meetings occurred just hours before Vice President Joe Biden met with the Chinese president in Washington. In May that same year, Hunter had a second meeting with many of the same Chinese financial powerhouses, just 2 weeks after his dad, the vice president, opened up the U.S.-China strategic dialogue with Chinese officials in Washington. And in 2014, another arm of Hunter's company, Rosemont Realty, began negotiating multi-billion-dollar deals with Gemini Investments, a Chinese firm with ties to the China Ocean Shipping Company, which reportedly operates as an extension of the Chinese military. But it's not even just China. A recent court case gave us a close look at the financial statements of Rosemont Seneca Bohai. Most of the money going out of that account was to Hunter Biden. Wait till you see where some of the money going into it came from. $145,000 from a Kazakh oligarch, $1 million from Chinese entities, of course, $1.2 million from a mysterious LLC tied to a Swiss bank that's been implicated in money laundering, and $3.1 million from corrupt Ukrainian oligarchs. Speaking of corruption in Ukraine, recent reporting by investigative journalist John Solomon revealed that in March 2016, when Ukraine's chief prosecutor, Viktor Shokin, conducted a wide-ranging corruption probe into the natural gas firm Burisma Holdings, of which Hunter Biden, who else, was a board member, his father Joe threatened to withhold $1 billion in loan guarantees from the US government unless that prosecutor was fired.